Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Now it's the last Wednesday of the month as usual, which means it's time for me to do my monthly roundup of the UK's bike news, courtesy of Motorcycle News. So if you need to be up to date on what's going on in the motorcycle world, stick around and stay tuned for the next few minutes. So, this month, rather depressingly, it's a case of royal fail, I'm afraid. It's Wednesday the 28th of February when I'm recording this. I should have received my latest copy of MCN this morning. The postman's just been, it's 4:30, or it's just coming up to 11 o'clock. Sadly, he delivered some stuff, but not my MCN. So this week's copy is going to have to wait until next month's bike news. But so don't worry, you won't miss out on what's in that copy. So just 3 to go through. Having said that, quite a lot of stories to go through. So grab yourself a brew. This could be quite a lengthy little video again. All right, so to the first paper then. The headline here is TT Dream Team, McGuinness to Norton. And this, in fact, is the first story that I've picked out. Now, John McGuinness, of course, Isle of Man TT and road racing legend, had an absolutely mare of 2017. Just didn't get on at all with the new Honda Fireblade, and basically has now decided to depart company with them after many, many years, lots of TT wins, etc. And what he's actually done, and this is kind of the dream team as far as us Brits are concerned, he's gone and joined the Norton team. Now, Norton again have had sort of mixed success in the TT the last few years. They've recently entered. They were sort of sneered at a bit when they first came in with the Aprilia powered bike. Now they've got their own engine in the V4-RR, and John McGuinness is going to be riding it. I mean, what an amazing, mouth-watering prospect that is. The only downside, of course, is John is still not fit from his bike crash. He's got this cage still on his legs that should be coming off, according to the article, should be coming off end of February. So round about now that should be coming off. Then he's got to get match fit, so to speak, in order to ride the bike. But absolutely can't wait to see how he gets on the Norton in the TT this summer. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. So that was the first story just picked out. Next one, new Triumph Speed Triple unveiled. Been loads in the press about this over the last month because, of course, the Speed Triple is one of Triumph's top sellers. A lovely bike. I love the looks of it, mainly because it reminds you of a street triple. And it turns out it reminds MCN of a street triple as well. Because the reason why I've pulled this article out is just to point out one of my pet hates. It's not just something MCN is guilty of, although they do it a lot, but all the magazines. And I think I've mentioned it before, in fact. So here we are, an article on the new Speed Triple. They've got some nice pictures of the Speed Triple, but in the little pull-out boxes here, it says Street Triple RS, Street Triple S. Even the magazines can't get it right. So for some reason, Speed and Street Triples really cause magazines and newspapers issues telling the difference. I'm a big Street Triple fan. I can tell the difference. I'm sure MCN can tell the difference really, but there we go. So I'm not meaning to slag off MCN. It's a great paper. I really enjoy reading it, but this mistake happens again and again. So now I've pointed it out, maybe they can pay a bit more attention to that. So there we go. But anyway, Speed Triple, looking forward to having a go on that new bike soon when the warmer, better weather comes. Okay. Next story to pick out here, the supercharged SX appeal is the headline. This is the new Kawasaki H2 SX SE. This is the top of the line touring version of the Kawasaki H2, the supercharged bike that was introduced probably 2 years ago now, actually. So this is the first time that any journos got on it and tested it. And it's, I think it's quite an amazing beast, actually. This just, in my mind, is what a proper sport tourer should be. Fast and comfortable. Their verdict, actually, is pretty good. They've given it 4 stars out of 5. They've said, what we like are the power, looks, rider aids and comfort. What we don't like, it's a little bit snatchy, front end feel, and the price. On the price front, it comes in, this is the top spec one, as I say, $18,099. Or if you want the panniers as well, which of course you would for a touring bike, another £622.80 for them. So yeah, it is an expensive bike. But when compared to its H2 brother, which was, I can't remember the exact price, but I think that was around the 30 grand mark, I think it's actually pretty good value. It does have a supercharged engine, quite a different engine to the engine that in fact is in the H2. They've made lots of changes to it to make it a bit more touring friendly. But again, this is a bike I absolutely can't wait now to have a go on, again, when it's a little bit drier and warmer out there for doing bike reviews. But yeah, stick around and stay tuned for a review of this one coming up, I hope, in the next few months. So that's the H2 SX SE. Right, last story in this first paper. Oh, here we go. Yes, they've MCN do some quirky reviews sometimes, or comparisons, and here they've tested what they're calling an adventure scooter, the Honda X-ADV against the Honda Africa Twin. Now the X-ADV is a bike I rode myself again last summer, I think it was, about 6 months ago, and I found it very interesting. Interesting being a code word for not quite sure what this bike is for, because it's sort of, the scooter boys perhaps wouldn't want it because it's a bit too motorcycly, and maybe the motorcycle guys and gals wouldn't want it because it's a bit too scootery. So maybe it's it's one of those bikes, it doesn't really fix a proper niche, or maybe it's trying to create a niche all of its own. But anyway, I really enjoyed riding it. Whether I buy one, I don't know, but it's certainly an interesting looking little bike. Alison Silcox, the MCN's office manager, has been riding one of these as a long termer for the last year. She only ever says good things about it. And of course the Africa Twin has been a favourite for a long time as well. So what's the conclusion that they come to? Well, they're still a bit confused, I think, generally, a bit like me, not quite sure what niche the bike fills, but maybe they'll generate their own one. Maybe they're onto something. We'll see how sales go, I guess. But an interesting review, I thought, nonetheless. The Africa Twin, by the way, 12,179. The Honda X-ADV, 9,599. So £2 grand cheaper for the X-ADV, but quite a different sort of motorcycle. They did take it off-road, by the way, did some light green lanes and said it handled absolutely fine. So it's kind of proved that you can do some light green laning on it, if nothing else. Alrighty, so that was it for the first paper of the month. The second one, got 5 stories here to pick out. Right, first one, BMW's Mini Adventure. And this is the news that BMW are set to release an adventure version of the new F850 GS, a bike that I think was announced last year. I think it's just coming into dealers around about now. I haven't ridden it yet, looking forward. I'm hoping to get a chance to ride the new F850 GS. Lots of people have asked me for that, so if I can, I will. But this one, the adventure version, is due to come out in 2019. It's got a new 850cc engine, it's got a bigger fuel tank, it's got a 3-piece screen. So, all the adventure-y type stuff has been done to that, so it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like. Whilst I'm on this page as well, this is an interesting page for me, because it's got a couple of new electric bikes on here as well. I'm well into electric bikes, as you may know if you watch the channel regularly. There's this one here from a company called Alta Motors, which is just a really lightweight sort of trials machine. And I'm interested to see that this one charges up in 90 minutes, which is incredible. And it's available in the US at the moment, but the price over here, equivalent, will be 8,550 quid. So quite good value if you want a sort of a trials bike, which I think is something these electric bikes really works well in, that sort of arena, because it's quiet, doesn't upset people when you're out on the trails. So that was another one that caught my eye. And at the bottom here, new CCM Spitfire bobber unveiled. CCM, little British company again that produces these little almost bespoke limited run models. They did the Spitfire a couple of years ago now, I think 18 months ago. It looked amazing, and they brought out different variants of it since. The latest one here is the bobber. Now I saw this at the London Motorcycle Show a couple of weekends ago, and it looks absolutely amazing in the flesh. The finish of it is beautiful. It's an amazing little machine, and I love the white wall tyres as well. I'm not a huge fan of bobber styles generally, but I think they've done a really nice job with this, so I'm sure that's just going to fly off the shelves. I don't know how many they're making. It'll be a limited run. A quick scan through here, it doesn't say, but normally it's just like 100 of these things, so I'm sure that will sell well. So that's the CCM Spitfire bobber. Okay, there's a letter here that I just wanted to refer to, because this made a lot of big news over the month here in the UK. This is the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, really dropped a clanger, I think, on this one. He met with lots of representatives of the motorcycle industry, including manufacturers recently, to talk about the theft problem in London, the capital's bike crime issue. And basically his answer to that was that the manufacturers have to step up and make bikes less stealable. And that just brought down a rain of abuse onto him from the motorcycle world, because that just seems the wrong way to go about it. Of course, if there's something that motorcycle manufacturers can do to make bikes less stealable, maybe fit trackers on them as a non-option, but always, and stuff like that, then fine. But really, it's got to be, we've got to stop the criminals in the first place. We've got to give the police more powers. We've got to, maybe have proper secure parking spaces in London for bikes, with proper posts that you can bolt your bike to, maybe with CCTV cameras, webcams that are there. It doesn't cost much now to set those things up. We can all do that. So that sort of thing would be a great deterrent to theft. So there's lots of stuff that could be done by the likes of London itself and, Sadiq Khan, if you like, as the mayor. So just to pass this off to bike manufacturers as a problem, I just think is wrong. And that's pretty much what this letter from somebody called Jeremy Weaver has basically said too. We've got to stop the crooks, we've got to get the police out there. It's not just an issue for the bike manufacturers. So yeah, just thought I'd refer to that, because it made quite a lot of news here in the UK when that one came out. Okay, next story. Tiger gets sharper claws. This is the new Triumph Tiger 800 XRT. It's been completely revamped. I rode the Tiger 800 last year, had one long term from Triumph through the summer. Really enjoyed it. The triple engine is just amazing, and now they've breathed on it. They've updated the engine, they've given it some new styling. Looks much more now like its bigger brother, the 1200. I think it looks great. I think it could still do with a beak. But it's looking a lot better than it did do before, I think. So again, really looking forward to getting my hands on this. It's got the new TFT as well, off of the Street Triple, which will be a great addition. So yeah, these mid-size, 800 mid-size bikes now are just super practical. I mean, if you need a bike to do everything, this would be a great option. And again, hopefully I'll get a go on one of these before the year is out. Okay, next up. Oh, this is a great feature actually that MCN did. They call it Britain's Best Loved Bikes, and basically it did a survey of what are our favourite used bikes, the top 50, and here it lists the whole top 50 of Britain's favourite used bikes, which I've not seen this done before, so it's a really interesting read, but I won't go through all of it for you, but I'll just go to the top end, the top 4, because it was interesting for me to note that number 4 on the list of Britain's favourite used bikes was the BMW GS. I own one of these, as you may know, so I'm pleased to see it made top 4 out of the top 50. Well done. And then even more pleased to see at number 3, Triumph Street Triple, another bike that I own. So great that 2 of my bikes are actually in the top 4 of Britain's best loved machines. So yeah, great to see that. I know what you're thinking, what got number 2 and 1? Well, I'll tell you. These did. Number 2, the Honda Fireblade. You know, it's been around for a few years now, isn't it? But always been one of Britain's favourites. That made number 2 on the survey. And number 1, the Yamaha RD350LC. Actually a bike that was kind of before my time in terms of biking, so I never really got to appreciate this bike. But whenever you talk about favourite old bikes, the RD350 always comes up. So that made number 1 on the survey. Just a great survey, I thought, that one. I think I'm going to be keeping that one for future reference. Okay, and then the last article in this paper that I pulled out, couldn't get through this month's review without talking about the Panigale V4. All the press have been doing loads of stuff on the V4 because it seems to have really you know, hit a nerve with the biking world. Number 1, it's a beautiful looking machine, but also it rides beautifully, it turns out. Not only on track, last month we saw lots of track tests, this time MCN have taken it out on the road to see how it behaves. And their summary basically is that it's you know, it's almost a game changer, this bike. The electronics just flatter your riding, makes it a great road bike. The power delivery, much more linear. There's some graphs down here. It's not snatchy like the original 1199 was. It's a bit of a puppy to ride apparently on the road. So yeah, they can't be you know, they can't be more glowing about it. So again, the Panigale V4, another bike that I'm hoping I'm going to get to ride this year again, when the weather warms up a bit. I keep mentioning that because at the moment it's snowing outside and it's -4 degrees centigrade here in the UK, so we're going through a very cold snap. All right, so that was the second paper. And then the last paper for this month, unfortunately, as I say, I've only got 3 this month, is this one. Let's check out the stories here I've picked up. The first one called Three's a Crowd. Now this here, this fooled me, as they often do. This is an MCN image, a mock-up of a bike. They've got wind via various copyrights and stuff that Yamaha are likely to produce a 3-wheeled version of their MT-03. Do you remember the Niken that was shown at the shows last year? Well, this is a Niken 25, they're calling it, and it's MT-03 based. It's going to be A2 license friendly, so if you've not got your full bike license in the UK, you'll be able to ride this thing. And most importantly, or more interestingly, MCN are saying that they think it'll be priced at around about the £7,000 mark, so £7,000 for this rather cool looking 3-wheeler, if indeed it ends up looking like this. I have to say, MCN's mock-up drawings or pictures usually are pretty close to the real thing, so if it doesn't look like this, I'll be surprised. But yeah, it's going to be amazing if Yamaha do come out with that. It's going to be a year or 2 off, expected late 2019, MCN are saying. That's going to be one heck of a bike to have a go on. Looking forward to having a go on the bigger version as well, the MT-09 based Niken that's already been announced. So there we go, so more 3-wheelers coming up. Maybe that's going to be a new niche, maybe it's a way to get more bikers into biking. So that's going to be interesting to see. Oh, having gone from something that I think is quirky and good, here's something that's quirky and, well, in my opinion, bad. SV gets X Factor is the title. This is the Suzuki SV. It's had a bit of a makeover to give it a sort of a retro calf racer look. Now have a look at this picture. Do you think that is ugly or what? that has got to win the prize for the worst ever style makeover, hasn't it? That fairing on the front just looks horrible. I don't know what Suzuki are thinking with that one. Maybe it's just me and maybe it's just ugly to my eyes, but I'd be interested to know if you think that the new SV650 looks horrible too. It's a bike that's been around for a while. I've not ridden one actually. I will try and ride one at some point. It's a bit of a favourite bike. It's getting maybe a bit long in the tooth, so this is maybe Suzuki's attempt to give it a bit of a revamp, but my goodness me, that has been hit with a fugly stick, isn't it? Big time. Anyway, there we go. So that's that one. Okie dokie. Right, next story, nearly through. How are we doing on time? Oh, quite good this week. Has Triumph done enough? And this is another group review. MTN have done a number of these, including the new Triumph, I was going to call it the Explorer then, but the Triumph 1200. This particular test, it's quite hard to compare like for like in the big adventure bike sector, and MTN have tried that a few times. Now in this case, they've got the KTM Adventure S, the Super Adventure S rather. They've got the Triumph 1200 XRT Tiger, and they've got the BMW R1200 GS TE. So these are the sort of, if you like, these are the road-based versions of the bikes. I think the last group test they did was the off-road one. And depending on which review you read, sometimes they put the Triumph Tiger out on top, sometimes they put the GS out on top. So this really is basically a road test of the three bikes. So what is their verdict? Well, I've ridden the bikes extensively. It's a good read actually, this one. But actually they came out and said that the GS is still the one to beat. I'm pleased to hear that because I'm a GS owner myself. But I do like the look of the new Tiger 1200, I must say. And I'm pleased to say next Monday I'm going to be going up to Hinckley to pick up their loan bike. So I'm going to have that for 2 or 3 weeks, really get to know the bike. Maybe I'll get to do a direct comparison with my GS. I know my GS is older, but it's going to be interesting to compare how the new Tiger 1200 compares against my old school GS, and just see if maybe that's a bike that would feel like it would be an upgrade. I mean, it's packed with technology now. It's got lean sensitive ABS, it's got the lights that come on as you corner, it's got an electrically adjustable screen. It really is quite a bike, but MCN is saying the GS is still the one to go for. I think just because the GS is better all round. I think it's, as a road bike, as a tourer, as an off-road bike, it does everything pretty well. And that's, I think, is the main reason why they're saying that. But if you want the full details, buy yourself a copy of MCN. You can get these back issues and read up on that. Okay, so just before we get to what's coming up on the channel in the next month, one more story just to pick out here. And this, in fact, isn't a story. It's a whole supplement. Look at this. This is, again, is one of my little pet hates. I've whinged on about this before. PCP. They've actually done a whole 24-page pull-out about bikes you can get on the cheap, so to speak. So here we are, look. The Kawasaki Ninja 650 for just £99 a month. Panigale V4 for £215 a month. It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? It's absolutely amazing. So there we go. There's a whole supplement on PCP. There's obviously something going on in the background that I'm not too aware of that benefits MCN by pushing these deals. Personally, I think if you're going to buy something, you should save up the money first and buy it. That's the way to do it. But I'm old school like that. I know for some people, I had some people come up to me at the London Motorcycle Show and had a bit of a go at me for always slagging off PCP because they use PCP and said it's great for them. So I completely get that it works for some people. It's just not for me, and I think you need to be a bit careful before you enter into these sort of agreements where there's a big balloon payment at the end. After 3 years, if you've then got to shell out another £5,000 for a bike that you now feel is old, that's going to be a painful £5,000 to shell out. Or you're then just tied into that manufacturer if you use it to trade in against another. So go down the PCP route if you think it's for you, but go into it with your eyes open is what I'd say. All right, so that's it for the 3 papers that I've got to review this month. Sorry I didn't get the 4th one, but as I say, blame royal fail. Just a couple of bits of parish notices I thought I would share with you before I go this time. Coming up this month, got a few things that I'll tell you about in a second. But first, I just want to welcome on board my new sponsor. You may have noticed in the last few videos that I've now got a little Screen Angels logo popping up at the start and end of the videos. So thanks very much to the guys at Screen Angels for coming on board. If you don't know who they are, these are the guys that make the little protectors for your TFT screen. Well, it doesn't have to be TFT, your screen on your motorcycle. They make them for all sorts of bikes. They're very cheap, they're about a tenner. They're almost a no-brainer to get fitted. I've got one, I fitted one on my Panigale about 18 months ago. I've got one on my GS as well. And these days with all the new TFT screens coming out, I just think, those are expensive things. If you get it scratched or chipped, it's going to cost you a lot to replace it or get fixed. So get yourself a Screen Angel screen cover, stick it on there, and that'll protect it. So I've been using them for a while. They've just come on board as a sponsor. So as I say, it's great that they've done that. Thanks to you guys. So you'll be seeing their logo a bit more on the channel. So just to let you know about that. Coming up in the next few weeks, we've got more on the Zero DSR, the electric bike. That's not quite ended as I as I planned. There's a video coming up on that on Monday, so stay tuned for that one. We've got a review of the Ducati Monster 797, a bike again that's been requested quite a lot. I really enjoyed that bike, rode that recently, got a review of that coming up soon. Got the Kawasaki Z1000SX, again, another bike that's been much requested, a bike that's been revamped for the 2018 model year. I rode that, so a review of that coming up. And also I'm going to be doing some more stuff in the garage in particular, which is most appropriate for this time of year. I've installed a heated seat, a Wunderlich heated seat on my GS. Absolutely amazing bit of kit. I'm going to have a video coming up on how I installed that and how that's going. This time of year when it's -4, I'll tell you, that just makes riding a whole lot different. I was surprised how good that turned out to be. It sort of keeps your core warm. Anyway, got a video on that coming up as well. And then, note for your diary, the next live Q&A, love doing those things, they're great fun. March the 14th, so the middle Wednesday of March is my next live Q&A. That'll be 8 PM UK time, so make a note in your calendar. Be great to have you along if you can join me for the live one. If not, don't worry, you can watch the recorded version as usual. There we go, so that's it for this month. Hope that's been of some interest. If you want more details, as I say, there are back copies of MCN available. I'm not sponsored by MCN. They don't send me free copies. I buy them myself. I like reading them. I think they're a great read. If you want more info, go and get yourself some back copies or subscribe yourself. All right, until next time then, this has been the Mr. and Fly. Cheerio.